Hey everyone, what is going on? And welcome back to another meta guide. So today we are in the Open Master League, everyone's favorite league. It's funny because I actually do like the meta. I just don't like how inaccessible it is. I wish there were more options to get Rare Candy XL. They've given us more options, I guess, over the years, but not for every Pokemon, and it's still expensive. So that's why I don't play the Master League. If that's why you don't play, let me know. But if you do play and if it's your favorite league, let me know as well. I mean, it's just a different opinion, Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But anyway, it does begin tomorrow, so it's going to run alongside the Spring Cup. So if you don't have these Pokemon, if you don't have the dust, the money, the candy, whatever it happens to be, you could just continue playing the Spring Cup if you choose to. But yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about the Master League. So I do actually have a decent roster, but it's nothing compared to what I would want, right? But so the first thing is going to be Palkia Origin Form. This is like the best Pokemon in Master League. It has Spatial Rent. It's so good. Dragon Breath does so much damage. Of course, it's so oppressive. Aqua Tail actually got buffed this season. Even last season, this Pokemon was ranked number 1, but it's even better now thanks to the buff. Now, I do have a 15, 13, 15 shiny, and that's the best one I have. That's the best one I got. I could try to lucky trade more of them. But because it has 13 defense, it actually needs 15 defense in order to beat Dialga Origin in the Zero Shield, I believe. So because of that, I kind of want to try and get a better one. I really want that 15 defense, so I'm not going to build mine quite yet. But, it's still a really strong Pokemon. If you have a really good one, if you have that Hundo, if you have that Shundo, and you have the candy thanks to the Sinnoh, more power to you. It's definitely the best Pokemon there is in this league currently. At least one of them. Next up, we have Zygarde Complete, also one of the best Pokemon, but so inaccessible. You need 250 cells to transform it into this Pokemon, but even if you have that, you need the Rare Candy XLs to invest into this, because if you don't have those, how are you going to build a level 50 one? You're not, because, you can't raid this thing. You could walk it, but getting the candy is very difficult. And even if you get the candy, even if you have 296 Rare Candy XLs to invest into this, which I have about 200, so I'm getting there. Even if you have enough candy, do you have a good one? You only get one. One of my friends actually got a Hundo. She doesn't play JBL, but she got a Hundo. Which is really good, but do you have one? The best. So mine is like a 14, 12, 14, I think. Something like that. So it's actually decent, considering you can only get one. But what if they release it in the future, where you can get more? I kind of don't want to build it and then have them release it again. So I'm probably not going to build it for that reason. But I am working on collecting cells anyway, just to have the cells for the future. So it's always nice to do the routes just to have them, because you never know when they'll release them. I'm at 171 cells currently, so I can't even use it anyway. But even if you don't have a level 50, it's still really good. If you happen to have maybe enough Rare Candy XLs for level 45, still a really good Pokemon though. So despite it being really inaccessible, it really is a strong Pokemon. Landorus, of course. Landorus, oh my gosh, it's so good. Ever since it got its new move, what is it called? Sansia Storm? Is that it? It's so good. I think it's ranked 3 on PvPoke, so it's definitely a really, really strong Pokemon. And as I said, it was around. This is another Pokemon I have a 15, 13, 15 of, and I am willing to invest in it. I have the XLs. I didn't build it yet because I don't play Master League. So if I happen to somehow get a better one, obviously like a Hundo, that's great, but I'll probably use this one. I don't know if it loses any matchups because of that 13 defense. Maybe it does, but either way, it's still good enough for me, but I'm not going to build it quite yet. Dragonite, I do have a Hundo Dragonite, so Dragonite, even though it's a non-legendary, it does compete with all the legendaries. That's how strong it is. Dragon Breath is really powerful, of course. Giratina Altered, really, really tanky Pokemon. I have a 98 of this. I just don't have the XLs. I did, but I put all the XLs into the Origin form. So I don't have quite enough XLs for this at all. But I guess I have a decent amount. I don't know how many I have exactly, but I'm not going to build it for that reason. But it's a lucky 98, 15, 15, 14, and I'm happy with it. Actually, I think it's a shiny, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a shiny because I remember I was like, oh, so close to being a Shundo. I think it is a shiny, so pretty cool there. Dialga is another one I have a 15, 13, 15 of. Again, I don't know if it loses any specific matchups. Maybe you could let me know in the comments down below. But really good Pokemon. Of course, that Dragon Breath, Roar of Time is so powerful. And then Iron Head. So you all know the regular Dialga. This one's just better. And then Solgaleo. So Solgaleo is another inaccessible Pokemon because you can get a max of, at least as of right now, a max of 3 Cosmogs. And did you get a good one? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. You can trade them, so you could lucky trade them as well. So maybe you do have a good Solgaleo, but then how do you get the XLs? Again, similar to Zygarde, you have to invest the Rare Candy XLs if you have them. Now, it's not confirmed, but I'm thinking Solgaleo and Lunala might be raid bosses at GoFest. Again, this is not confirmed, but it might be worth holding off on building yours if you're debating on it for that reason. And the reason I think that is because Pikachu and Eevee are wearing Sun and Moon crowns, right? Marshadow is going to be the Mystical, which is from the Alola region. And Solgaleo's signature move was actually Data Mined. I don't think we have stats on it, but sound effects for it were Data Mined, I believe. So I'm leaning towards them releasing this and Lunala in Raid, and if that is the case, you can get the XLs and you can get a good one from that, and then it will be a lot less inaccessible, right? A lot of people probably have this one, but yeah, it's a really strong Pokemon. I'm just going on and on about the inaccessibility instead of talking about the meta. My apologies, but anyway, Groudon, of course, Groudon is going to have a Raid Day coming up. I believe it's actually this coming weekend. If I'm not mistaken, and this is also at the Hoenn Tour, so I have mine built, so it's a really strong Pokemon with Precipice Blades. Moving on to the A rank, so Dialga and Palkia, they're good, they're just not as good as the Origin forms because you can't get Roar of Time or Spatial Rend on them, and those moves are just better than Draco Meteor, so yeah, you definitely want to use the Origin forms, but these ones are still good if maybe you have these built and you just want to go into Master League without building the Origin forms, or you don't have more XLs or something. They're still good, but like for example, Roar of Time is just so much better than Draco Meteor. So keep that in mind. The other two are definitely better. Although the regular Dialga will win CMP against the Origin form, but the Origin form is more tanky. If I do think I got that correct. Meloetta, another inaccessible Pokemon. Here I go talking about inaccessibility again, just because they gave out one, and you can't trade it or anything, and how do you get the XLs, right? But it is a really good Pokemon because it is really tanky, so it is really thick. Mewtwo, another great Pokemon. This has been repeated a lot, so maybe you have this. I have a Hundo, a Purified Hundo actually, so really excited about that. Really strong Pokemon, of course. Ho-Oh. Another really strong Incinerate user, really powerful Incinerate user, definitely the best one in the Master League, if not the only one. I guess you could use any Pokemon you want, but yeah, definitely a really strong Pokemon, really tanky as well. Okay, Xerneas, right? Xerneas, ever since it got Geomancy, it became good. It wasn't really that great before, but ever since it got Geomancy, it gets to the moves, the close combat where it could hit the steel types, right? Like Dialga, for example, for super effective damage, and then Moonblast, a really powerful Pokemon. Kyogre, yep, I love Kyogre. Another really strong one with that waterfall damage, with that surf damage. You definitely probably want Blizzard, but it also has Thunder and Origin Pulse. Zacian, I think Zacian is a great safe swap, really flexible. I mean, I've seen it with its tackle, right? This is how often I play the Master League, but I think it has tackle, and then I know it has Snarl. So I've seen it with both moves, and then it has Wild Charge, Close Combat. Play Rough, I've seen it with all those moves as well. So depending on your team and the moveset, really strong Pokemon. Then moving on to the B rank, Giratina Origin, actually a really good Pokemon, and I see this a lot. Probably could move it up a little bit because it is a really good Pokemon. Yeah, and I do have a Shundo. I actually do have a Shundo of this one, a lucky Shundo, I guess, but really happy with that. It is level 50, really powerful. And then Zekrom, another dragon that is strong. I don't think it really competes too well with Dialga and Palkia Origins, but it's still a really good Pokemon as well, and you'll definitely see it from time to time. Lugia, so Lugia was nerfed thanks to Sky Attack being nerfed. When was it? A couple seasons ago. But still, still really good. I mean, at the end of the day, it has the bulk. Thanks to the bulk, makes it really, really strong. A great save swap. Love Lugia as a save swap. And the Zarude, yet another inaccessible Pokemon, thanks to it being a mythical, but it is coming back at some point. by the time this video goes live, maybe it's known when it's coming back, but we know it's coming back this season. But again, you probably only get one of those. But again, yeah, you need a good one. You need the XLs, all things like that. But Zarude doesn't it's really good, but it doesn't like absolutely dominate the Master League, whereas Zygarde Complete does. So it's a little bit different, I feel like. But it still is really good. And then Yveltal, another really strong one. I have 298s, but they both have 14 attacks, so it's like I'm not building it. I do have the XLs, it's just I'm waiting for a better one. And then Metagross, of course. Metagross is really strong for those fairy types, right? Ever since Xerneas got buffed with the new Geomancer move, and then Zacian as well. So really strong there. Meteor Mesh, of course, is a very powerful move. And then Excadrill. So Excadrill, really fast. I just can't take hits that well, but it's really fast. Moving on to the other options. Hisuian Avalugg. I've actually battled this a decent amount of time. This thing is so bulky. This thing is going to shine, I feel like, in the Master Premier, where there's no legendaries, because this thing is just so bulky, and it can take hits. It's actually really good. Reshiram, another dragon. I feel like, I mean, we have better Dragon Breath uses in higher tiers. You see Reshiram occasionally. I just feel like it's not as good as the other ones. Gyarados, Florges. Some of these Pokemon, like all these, like are going to be really good in the Master Premier. But you can still use them in the Open Master League, just not as good. For example, Baxcalibur. Yeah, I mean, I guess this one would be difficult to get XLs. It's not a legendary, but like it's a very rare. Frigibax is a very rare Pokemon, and it is relatively new, right? So that's why. But at some point, a couple years from now, it will get a community day. So keep that in mind. Mamoswine, Ursaluna. I loved using Ursaluna. I have a Shundo Ursaluna I got on community day. And I've used it, and it's a lot of fun with the tackle, high horsepower. It has Ice Punch. It's a really fun Pokemon. Garchomp, another Pokemon that's going to dominate in the Master Premier Cup. This Landorus, another Landorus, the Incarnate form. It doesn't have the new move. It's not as good or as the Therian form, so I don't think you'll have to worry about this one at all. Mainly focus on the other Landorus. Gudra, another Dragon Breath user. Rayquaza. So the thing about Rayquaza is it does have Breaking Swipe, and Breaking Swipe is really good, right? Well, at least it was really good before it nerfed it. So when they nerfed Breaking Swipe, they targeted Steelix, of course, because Steelix was just way too overpowered. I do agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it affected a lot of other Pokemon, like the Rayquaza, like Heliolisk, that became good because of Breaking Swipe, but now they're really not as good anymore thanks to the nerf. Although you could still use Rayquaza, you probably still see it for sure. But I would say it's not as good nowadays. And then we have Snorlax. So Snorlax, definitely a decent safe swap, more so in the Master Premier. Again, all these other option Pokemon, most of them probably used for the Master Premier. Obviously, the legendaries you can't use, but let's go ahead and move on to the solid team options. So for the first team is going to be a team I've seen in the past, a similar team. It's Ho-Oh Double Dragon with the regular Dialga, and then Zekrom. I want to say Housestock created that team. I could be wrong. But I just did a different spin on it. I did Dialga and Palkia, both Origin forms, with Ho-Oh in the lead. I think it's going to be a great team, I think. Which one would I use as a safe swap? Maybe the Palkia, just because, yeah, maybe Palkia, just because, I mean, both I think are decent safe swaps, honestly, but yeah, I think this team could work. I'm currently trying to still get enough XLs for Ho-Oh. I do have a Hundo, actually, so still trying to get enough XLs for it. And then next up, we do have Dialga Origin with Kyogre and Zacian. So Zacian definitely being the safe swap. I think that's a better safe swap for sure. And as I said, it's really flexible depending on the moveset. If you go with Wild Charge Close Combat, you have nothing to hit Giratina, but at the same time, they don't know that you're not running Play Rough, so they probably won't respond with a Giratina if you say swap Zacian. So it's kind of hard to say which moveset you want. And then next up, we have Groudon in the lead with Double Fairy. So Double Fairy, of course, does not like Steel types. For example, Metagross. I was going to say Dialga, but you still have play because of the close combats in the back with Dialga. And then plus, the Fairies double resist Dragon Breath. But in general, you don't like Steel types. I mean, I guess you're fine against Steel just because of the close combat. It's mainly Metagross that you don't like. Because Metagross, of course, is doing super effective damage with Bullet Punch, but aside from that, it's taking neutral damage. It's not weak to close combat, but the Groudon, of course, does well against that. Next up, we do have I put Zygarde, excuse me, Zygarde in the lead. You could go with another Dragon type, like Dragonite if you want to, and then double steal with Solgaleo and Metagross. And again, if you don't have the Solgaleo, you can go with the Excadrill or something, another steel type. And then another team is going to be Mewtwo, Landorus, and Palkia. Origin form. I only used Origin forms in the solid team options, but I imagine you could use the regular forms as well if you have those built. And then the final team is going to be the Origin Dialga with Landorus and Groudon, so double ground. So yeah, overall, let me know what you think of these teams. Let me know what team you plan on running. But let me know if you're going to be playing the Spring Cup or the Open Master League, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.